Let's see. Should Christians be concerned about artificial intelligence? Big topic, Eden. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say for artificial intelligence, I think they should be as concerned as they would be with, I think, any technology. I think there are lots of incentives for people to really use anything at their discretion to try to make as much money as possible. That's like generally how we think about economics. Supply and demand, people are trying to make money. With artificial intelligence, you have massive amounts of data and you have the ability to sort of automate things. And people are going to use that to try to extract value. But I don't think that's any more unique than any other type of tool that they would use to do that. So I think there's going to need to be regulation in place, and I think a lot of people are already working on that. Obviously, there's like a crazy amount of potential in AI, but I also think like generally we tend to over-dramatize the pace at which things are actually developing. Things have always been moving fast.
Yeah, I think most fears over artificial intelligence are overblown. I think there's actually more opportunity, more that Christians ought to be excited about with AI than scared about. I think a lot of people maybe see a movie and see where AI is at in a movie, a robot able to do all of these human tasks, and the reality is that we're nowhere near that with artificial intelligence. A robot can't even tie a shoe. We just don't have all of the technology is not there. A robot could tie a shoe if it's in this exact spot and it's this exact type of shoe and the sensors are all in the right spots. So I think artificial intelligence as it plays now, we're using it every day. We're using it when you enter into your Google search bar. Google knows what you're going to be putting in there. We use it every day, and I think it actually is helpful because it frees up humans to do things we really care about more. It can make us more efficient. It can be helpful. In a lot of ways, I think we ought to be thinking about artificial intelligence like people were thinking about the Industrial Revolution, which brought about, some of that technology did harm, sure, but it freed up humans to do things that humans can be great at, like relationships, emotionally connecting. And AI, robots will never be able to emotionally connect. AI is designed for logical thinking, logical decision making, and helping with that. So I think there's actually much more opportunity rather than threat.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I definitely think like the concern with AI is that it eliminates like a lot of potential job opportunities for those on the sort of like manufacturing ends. I think like Elon Musk came out recently and he had to get rid of a lot of the machinery that they were using in their factory because it wasn't able to produce the cars at the rate that he thought they would. They had to go back to using a lot of manual labor. So a lot of it is ahead of its time. But I went down to Shinola. They have a watch factory down in Detroit. They're trying to like be one of these guys that's like re-energizing American manufacturing and creating these watches. And I was on their line and I saw the people assembling watches. And it's a very monotonous role. Like you sit there and you're putting bands on these watches, and it creates jobs, but at the same time you're like, are these the things that we should be doing? Yes. Like sitting there and putting on a band Absolutely. For 8 hours a day. Are those the kinds of jobs that we want? Or is that just like, like I think a robot should be doing some of those things yes. and probably could do it at a better precision, creating art and creativity. A lot of these kinds of things robots can't do. But the question for me would be like, yes, like we may create jobs on the low end of the sphere, but are there ways that we can like empower those people to do jobs that maybe would give them more satisfaction? Like you could just tell some of these guys are bored out of their minds, like doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, it's certainly going to result in the loss of some jobs, right. But also sure. the creating of a lot of new jobs, and then I think will release human potential in some new ways because you're not doing things. In a lot of ways, it's like how we use calculators now. We don't even think about it, but no one is doing long form division. No one's working out some of these equations on paper. If they can just quickly use their calculator to do that, then there's time, mental space, energy freed up to use in different ways. So.
I think there will be massive disruption, but I think to your point, those things don't happen overnight. It's not like all of a sudden all those jobs are eliminated. Yeah. It's over decades those jobs will be eliminated. But I think new jobs will be created as well.
I think the way we'll be talking about this in 20 years will be very different than the conversation today. We'll have made a lot of discoveries about how it works. But